Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Batman Superman World's Finest issue 21 by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. Waid dives headfirst into the Kingdom Come world this issue as Batman and Superman's reunion with the boy Thunder doesn't go as planned, and the now much older David attacks them. The battle garners the attention of the EARTH-22 Batman and Superman, who respond to the threat and upon hearing David's story, accuse the Earth-Zero counterparts of being evil doppelgangers, hell-bent on destroying them and their world. That's about as deep as the issue goes in terms of story, as it's mostly big action sequences between both sets of World's Finest heroes. Waid keeps a good pace throughout the issue, moving from one battle to the next, and uses David really well throughout it. He's extremely desperate that the Earth-22 heroes don't find out who he really is and where he really came from, having lied about everything to the other Batman and Superman. The one thing I do hope Waid explains is how David lying actually matters in the grand scheme of things, since we learn throughout the issue that this world isn't like the Kingdom Come we knew from the original books. It's been taken over by Gog, the old god of the third world, who has subjugated all of Earth's heroes to do his bidding, and David is one of his heralds or one of his right-hand men. It's never really made clear what exactly he is. That alone makes me wonder why David is even lying in the first place, since we know he goes on to become Magog, someone who Gog will actually end up creating, and lying to the heroes shouldn't really matter, being that Gog is seemingly mind controlling them all, so you would think that that would kind of wipe their memories on what David is telling them, and they'd just be able to set the heroes on the Earth-Zero counterparts when they arrive, without the need for David to rush between the heroes telling them that they're doppelgangers or they're there to steal their places or something. The mind control or whatever is affecting the heroes also seems to extend to Superman, as throughout the issue he gets more and more angry and upset at the situation, and we saw this in the last issue where Bruce was seemingly the person who had less paranoia about these people and actually wanted to go to the Batman and Superman of Earth-22 for help, but Superman was right against it. He didn't want to do it, especially after seeing what had become of the world in the future when they saw all the graves of everyone, and he didn't trust this Superman, since how could a Superman let that happen? It's really interesting and is more extended upon here, where he just kind of snaps at Bruce a little bit and gets really angry while he's at the Kent farm when he finds out that the Kents of this world are dead. Since he is affected by it, I'm gonna guess that there is magic at play here, especially with Gog being involved, that there's magic or some sort of really advanced science that affects Superman more than it affects other people, and I'm looking forward to them kind of explaining it a little bit more, since it's all just kind of dropped on us this issue and no real explanation of what exactly Gog's plan is. Although Gog's appearance really intrigues me, since it could imply that Earth-22 is a sort of redo by the villain to make the world how he wanted it. He's just starting a lot earlier than what we saw in the original Kingdom Come book with Magog. He's trying things a little bit differently and actually getting involved himself this time. It also goes so far to explain, I guess, why they're cut off from the multiverse, or why this world doesn't really seem to know what the multiverse is, since Gog wouldn't want any of the heroes poking around in other worlds and seeing how free they are, or other heroes like Batman and Superman coming to their world to help free them. Even though we know some of their heroes are out there, like the Flash. The Kingdom Come Flash is already out and in the Speed Force, as Barry saw him in the Speed Force, so I guess maybe this could be seen as something as maybe the Flash gave the Barry Allen of Earth-Zero those flashes of who Mangog is and who Gog is and what's happening with David and everything to help draw them to this Earth. But again, it's all kind of just me piecing things together from what's said in the book, and nothing has been outrightly told to us as of yet. The two fights that take up most of the issue are broken down into two parts: Batman versus Batman and Superman versus Superman, and it's all pretty standard superhero versus superhero fights. I did like the younger Superman getting the drop on his older self by using a lead mine to disorientate him with some sonic waves. I thought that was quite a smart thing to do, rather rather than just hit each other until one of them falls down. The Batman, meanwhile, are evenly matched until Nightwing makes his appearance, a surprise appearance as well, since last issue we do find out that he does indeed die in this version of the Kingdom Come universe. And here we get to see him a little younger, and he shows off a new black and red costume, although this is also another signal that not everything is right, since in this world he hasn't become Red Robin yet, and probably seemingly won't become Red Robin as well, since the grave marker we saw last issue said Nightwing, not Red Robin. The issue rounds out with Gog finally showing up, and we see all of the heroes bowing to him, signaling that they are under his control, and they see him as their world healer and the person who healed their world. And we also learn that he has full control of the Justice Brigade, which is just every hero you can really think of who was in that original Kingdom Come book is now part of this big team that gets sent after the Earth-Zero Batman and Superman. And there's some really cool and intriguing additions, like Supergirl is there, and we get to see some of the Flashes, and we also get to see Peacemaker, how he was drawn in that original Alex Ross book, which was a reference to the prototype Boba Fett outfit that they were going to have for Empire Strikes Back, where he's in all white, and we get to see that here in its full glory. And it's just great that nothing like that changed. It's all exactly the same, it's just done slightly different and slightly modernized. Speaking of the artwork, Dan Mora is in full gear this issue, with every page filled with either cool action or fun character interactions. The small differences he puts in between the world's finest are really neat. I like that the Kingdom Come heroes have more muted, darker costume colors, as well as when you look at David, his costume is like pure 90s with like that cut-off jacket and pouches, and just a really loud color covering most of the costume, since he's just covered in purple and he's got the domino mask and everything. Very 90s costume. And we see it more so with the Supermen, where the older Superman has a much darker costume. His hair is always slicked back, it's not sort of ruffled like the younger Superman has. I think he even parts it on a different side as well, again just to help really differentiate themselves from each other. When it came to Batman, of course the older Batman had to have the experimental flight suit, even though he doesn't particularly need it, and it's kind of a roundabout way to get him in the costume we all know from that Kingdom Come book, where we learned that the Bat Cave was basically destroyed by Mongul just the day before this all happened, so he didn't have any real equipment except for this experimental suit. So it's kind of an ass pull to like just get him in that costume and kind of get the member berries going and everything. But I really like how Mora draws it, and how his style slightly changes when drawing him, and we get to see him backed by the blue and white skies, which was a staple of the Alex Ross artwork, and the art even sort of mirrors Ross's work in some ways. And it's really cool seeing Mora's art invoke so much of the classic Alex Ross artwork while also still making it very much his own. It's still that very much Dan Mora style. Mark Waid's return to the Kingdom Come universe is in full swing and doesn't let up on the action. It still leaves quite a few plot points open and keeps building on them with even more mystery about what is going on, what is Gog's role in this, what is David's role in becoming Magog in this. Still lots of questions to be answered, and hopefully in the next issue we get some, but this issue is just balls to the wall action. This is definitely what everyone wanted when this series announced that it was going back to Kingdom Come, and I like that Waid is just getting it out quickly and being like, okay, you've had the action, now let's tell the story. Let's tell the story of Magog and how he becomes Magog, and how Earth-Zero's finest help shape what Kingdom Come can and maybe will become. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Definitely check it out, and if you haven't been checking out the World's Finest series, do yourself a favor this holiday season and buy the trades for the book. It's an excellent read, it's always a lot of fun, there's some really great stories in there, and you will not be disappointed.